I wanted to kind of get your overall reaction with him saying that he wants to use Jaden Ivey in a variation of a Karis LeVert as a backup point guard. What do you think about those comments from Trajan Langdon? And do you think this team still needs a backup point guard?
I think from a roster construction standpoint, it would certainly be really convenient if they didn't end up needing another facilitator. But I think the truth is that Ivy and Levert are both guys who could also thrive with being able to, move off the ball to receive screens and not have as much pressure as playmakers. I do still believe that Ivy can take a leap in that area. I'm someone that does believe in his basketball IQ, and I do think he's someone that studies the game. Levert, like he's someone who's definitely like serviceable, and you can put the ball in his hands. I don't really know how much of a facilitator he actually is, and I don't know how much I actually want him like running the offense in a given game. So the big thing is like, Cade's going to probably be in like 30 plus minutes a night, and then Ivy's probably going to be staggering. They're probably going to be on the court for the majority of the game. So realistically, you're going to need someone for, 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes to give you quality playmaking, handle the basketball. And that's where I do think that you could, look at some potential options at some point later in the season, because if there is anything, that we've seen throughout this league, and if there was anything consistent about the teams that made it deep into the playoffs and, even won the championship, it's having quality, depth and point guard play, but also multiple guys who can pass the ball and, who can play make. So I definitely think someone else that can definitely take some of that as well as Asar Thompson, if he can improve his handle. He's shown, some flashes of really good vision as well. But I definitely think that if you're looking at potential areas of weakness for this team going into the season, the most glaring to me are backup guard depth and power forward depth.
Yeah, I think those are the two areas of need. I thought going into this free agency, Sean, they would have addressed backup point guard, but obviously the Malik Beasley situation, which was just absolutely crazy right before free agency. I mean, even Trajan said today they had to pivot really quickly and kind of adjust their plans. I'm not against Jaden Ivey getting on ball reps. I'm not. I just think they're going to be in the same situation as they were last year, where you need that veteran backup point guard to close out game 3 with the second unit. And I also kind of worry about the turnovers as well. I thought Dennis Schroeder, when we acquired him, he was playing next to Cade Cunningham and kind of being that veteran guard that I think a lot of fans were kind of just pounding the table for. But maybe they can make it work with Karis LeVert and Jaden Ivey. I know Karis did do a little bit of ball handling in Cleveland, but I don't know like how much he actually did, because I'm not going to sit up here and act like I watched all 82 games of the Cleveland Cavaliers or even like dabbled into the Atlanta Hawks this season.
Right.
I mean, I can't really, I probably wouldn't be able to listen to a Hawks game because their play-by-play guy's voice freaks me out every time I hear it. Because it's Dominique Wilkins is the OG though, but their play-by-play guy, man, his voice is just so unique. Every time I listen to it, it kind of freaks me out. But kind of circling back, maybe they do acquire a backup point guard. I don't really know who's available. Maybe you have a reunion with Monte Morris. I think it would be good. He's a low turnover guard. I know it just didn't work here because of injuries, and he was injured for a majority of his time here. I think he played like maybe 1 or 2 games before we offloaded him to, I believe, Minnesota it was. But I mean, hopefully they do address the backup point guard, because I do feel like it could come to bite them in the ass this season, where maybe Jaden Ivey's just a little bit tired, or maybe Karis LeVert doesn't have it that game. Just having a veteran out there to lead your second unit, I think, is really important.
Yeah, he had LeVert had almost 3.5 assists to 1 turnover ratio last year between his 2 stints, which is pretty solid. He's one of those guys where I think he's kind of like a jack of all trades, but like a master of none. He's someone that can do a lot of things for your basketball team, even if he's not necessarily going to be elite in one of those areas. I would definitely say scoring is his specialty, but like I definitely think he's someone where you're not going to like be like pinching yourself that he has to handle the ball at times throughout the game. But, you know, it is a vote of confidence in Ivy and his playmaking for sure to be able to say, oh, we're fine with Dennis Schroeder walking. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's not a world where Detroit, you know, could pay Dennis Schroeder 15 million plus like Sacramento did to come in and play their backup point guard role. But at the same time, to, you know, not really push or, you know, as of right now, not really like look very deep elsewhere in the point guard market, you know, to me, that does say that they do have some real confidence in Ivy's ability.
Yeah, I mean, I was just never really a big fan of the staggering last year. That's just my opinion. I just didn't really like it. I like that Jaden Ivey was out there. I like that he was playing and he wasn't being benched for a guard that was afraid to shoot the basketball. But I mean, I honestly think that like if you do get one, maybe someone in summer league really impresses you. If you really want to be on the cheap, signing like a G League or
Right.
just two-way someone, maybe you could do it that way. But hopefully, we're not sitting up here like February talking about like what backup point guard they got at the deadline again, because like that's what we're talking about. We're talking about, oh, we got Dennis Schroeder. Hopefully, we can keep her around here long term. But you know, the Kings want to pay him like he's a franchise point guard. But the Kings are going to king, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yeah, the Kangs are gonna Kang. That is most definitely for sure. But you know, I would say like the nice thing about having, you know, like a Cade Cunningham is the fact that he can play with a pretty high usage. I imagine his conditioning will be better going into next season as well. And then from there, like, you know, again, you do have like a pretty decently versatile roster where guys can do some different things. So you know, hopefully this isn't something that we look back on and go, man, it really is an issue. But like like I do think at the same time, like people underestimate like how important Dennis Schroeder really was to that playoff run. Like I almost forgot that he was the one that, you know, that hit that go ahead shot for Detroit to snap the 17-year playoff streak. Like, you know, like Ivy hit some clutch shots last year, Cade hit some clutch shots last year, but Schroeder has shown throughout his career like he is comfortable in big moments.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was this is just my opinion. I thought he was the second most impactful player during those playoffs. Um, when Cade didn't really have that number two option, like some nights it was Tobias, Tim got high, but Dennis Schroeder kind of turned back the clock, kind of looked like FIBA Germany Dennis Schroeder out there, just
Yeah.
hitting big shots. And like you got to look at him as a career like 3-point shooter. He's not really known as like a sniper out there, but man, like when the pressure's cooking, he delivers. And like I don't really think that's something that the Pistons can straight up replace. Like I know Trajan said, like, you know, uh, Karras can kind of fill into that Dennis Schroeder role. I'm not entirely sure if I agree with that
Yeah.
because I feel like Dennis Schroeder's like for the money for what they got him last year, one of the best backup point guards in the market, and you traded the second round pick to acquire him. But I mean, we'll see how the Karis LeVert, Jaden Ivey, you know, backup point guard roles kind of work. I'm just not too confident sitting up here thinking that it's a long term solution. And maybe we see reports sit there looking for a backup point guard come trading deadline.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at the if you look at their, you know, if you look at their stats, so I was looking at playoff numbers, but I mean, like, yeah, Schroeder was pretty big time in that playoffs. He had like he was 12 and a half points a game. His effective field goal percentage was almost 60%. He shot he shot almost 50% from three that series, which
That's
I mean,
insane.
yeah, that is nuts. So, you know, just absolutely cold blooded, but you know, definitely wishing nothing but the best in Sacramento. I think he came in and really maximized his time in Detroit, which I think is a big part of him getting that contract.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for players getting paid. Um, I just don't know what to make of Sacramento's team, Sean. I just
Yeah.
don't know how you are trying to build Bulls West out there and thinking it's going to work.
Yeah.
In the Western Conference, man, like good luck. Maybe you're a play-in team.
I saw a tweet about a month ago. Forgive me, I don't remember who it was from, but it said the Kings really turned Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox into Zach LaVine and DeMontis Sabonis, which is just one of those things where as you look out, you go, oh man, that is brutal. And Keegan Murray hasn't exactly looked super impressive over the last season or two. They don't exactly have a whole lot of financial flexibility given how not great they are. I just, yeah, I don't necessarily know how much faith to have in them when they clearly showed this last year that they haven't quite moved on from being the old Kings.